Afternoon. Just bring to your attention a message that came out today, which is August 1st, 2024 from the SSA. It's just a helpful little reminder of what you should do if you are a beneficiary of retirement or disability or any of the Social Security program benefits as you go through life, because different changes can mean a more beneficial benefit to you potentially, because you'll have another basket of eligibility that you could be taking from. And if that has a different amount, a higher amount than what you're collecting on the other eligibility you have, you can usually switch over. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little synopsis of what they talk about, and I will link it below. In general, they say you can help yourself or help them help you by telling them about relationship or other life changes that could affect your eligibility for retirement, survivors, or disability benefits, or your benefit amount. And I would add to that that members of your family, when these changes occur, could also be eligible for benefits. And particularly if that's a person that's a member of your household, that increases your household income. So let's get to it. They do remind us that you may miss out on additional payments that you may be due if you don't report changes to them in a timely manner. And that alludes to the fact that there is no full retroactivity for anything. I don't know off the top of my head what each one is, but I know some retroactivity doesn't go, well, for instance, SSI does not go before the date you actually apply for it. Certain disabilities can go back retroactive 12 months, and retirements and such might be 6 months. So you could see it really can vary. So just don't delay. I think when something happens, get the information to them in a month or two. Okay. And they also remind you, and this is a helpful reminder, but not that we like to hear about it, that you could also be inadvertently overpaid benefits and have to pay them back if you don't report something you're supposed to have reported. So here they go on to a list of what we are supposed to tell them when this happens. If you get married or divorced, you tell them. If your spouse or a former spouse passes away, you tell them. If you become the parent of a child, including an adopted child, you want to tell them. That's usually going to be a positive. If the child or stepchild who gets benefits on your record gets married, now that would be important because that person will no longer be eligible for the benefits they were getting on your record or someone else's in the house. And that's where an overpayment can come in. The child or stepchild who gets benefits on your record no longer lives with you. And it says, note, we will need the name and address of the person with whom the child is living. This is really important. Many of us have heard the situations where it's divorced parents, the child who's dependent on one is no longer, and that parent is still collecting benefits. It's not going to the child when maybe it should have been, or they're just not eligible at all. And now that parent is going to have an overpayment for keeping that money. Yeah. Okay. So they give you several ways to report changes, of course. And I will tell you my preferred way in a moment. They do offer the 1-800 number, which is 1-800-772-1213. You can call your local Social Security office, or you can fax, mail, or deliver your updates to your local office. I have to say, I prefer everything in writing. You want that paper trail. If they lose it, you can at least prove that you did the right thing by telling them. It doesn't change the fact if it's an overpayment. But it could definitely change the fact if it's an underpayment and you are proving that you contacted them about it and you wanted to make an application or what have you. Now, a lot of times applications are not official until you sign them. So you still have to stay on top of it. But there is something called a protective filing, and the mere contact with them buys you time so that the month that you contacted them, the day you contacted them, buys you a certain amount of time after, even if you don't have the signed application in for something that you could have been eligible for. So keep the paper trail. I like to do things always with a fax confirmation and or mail, and doing mail, always certified return receipt requested. I know it's a pain and I know it costs a little money to do the mail that way, but you get that receipt back that's signed by the SSA that says we received your package. Fax confirm is also pretty good. Yeah. Gotta love those. You know, speaking of fax, and I see this a lot with my clients. Some people, many people, well, I say it's like 50-50. Some people have fax machines and some people do not. And I don't know if I'm talking specifically about like hard fax machines versus online digital, but I'll tell you something. If you have a lot going on with the SSA, and this would largely probably be related to disability of somebody, because there's always months and months and months and months usually of work and sending papers in and all that kind of stuff. If you have one of those 3 ways, it could be a printer, copier, scanner, doesn't even have to be a fax. But if you have one of those, and a few years ago, you could get them for like 40-50 bucks at Walmart. And I understand $40-50 might be a high expense for somebody. But I can promise you that if you go to Staples or Wawa or 7-Eleven, where they offer faxing services, you're going to be paying like $2 a page, and you're going to far exceed the 40-50 bucks that you would have spent on a machine right in your own home. Okay. Another way to do it that is probably free is if you have a phone camera and you can take very, very good pictures of documents that you need to send in. I mean, clear, bright, and then use that scanning function in the phone, make it black and white, make it crisp as you can. So they'll accept it. And then you email it to yourself or scan it up to your device, however you do it with your device. I'm not really good with my phone. I'll take pictures, I can scan and stuff like that, but I use a commercial scanner. But for those that don't have anything else and your resources are really tight, and getting those fax at Staples or wherever is going to be a big burden, that is your free way of doing it, because you already have that phone and probably that smartphone with the internet connection. So it's more time consuming, but you've got all the time in the world probably, if you're fighting a disability case anyway, and you can take your time and you can just do it, you know, as a need arises, and that doesn't cost anything. It's more cumbersome, but it doesn't cost anything, and it will work because people do it all the time. Okay. Then they tell us going to your My Social Security account. You know, we just had those announcements that they made about the new method that will be becoming the only 2 methods to get into your Social Security account, which is login.gov and irs.me. Did I say irs.me? Do I have taxes on the brain? ID.me. So we all have to get on that bandwagon if we want internet access to our stuff. If we don't, if you just like to call, you know, that's fine too. It's for people that want it. So don't feel like you're compelled. I don't think we are. I haven't done it yet, but I never really go into my SSA.gov account either. Very rarely, every multiple years, I guess. And I should do it more because I always tell everybody else to do it more, right? And then they also talk about their automated phone services, and there are links to those in here. So you can look at that. They do also remind us that if you get SSI, Supplemental Security Income Payments, you have far more reporting obligations. And we've talked about this in other videos, and it all has to do with any money coming in, going out, any resources you come across, anything titled in your name. If you work while you're disabled, you know, you just have to report it, even if it's under the limits and everything else. You have to stay on top of it. And again, I would always keep proof that I told them. That's why a quick phone call to me is not the ideal way. I think in writing, at the very least by fax, if not by certified mail, return receipt requested, or UPS or FedEx. But alrighty, that's it, guys. All the things you got to continue to tell them about. So you might get an underpayment that they're going to owe you money, or you might have an overpayment if you don't do it. Alrighty, I'll chat with you later. Bye.